All right, I know it's a little bit sacrilegious to be wearing like Loki stuff and then Star Wars stuff as they're both owned by Disney, and we're talking about DC today, but why can't we just come together as one and just love all the superhero things? I mean, it's a great time to be a nerd right now. What's up, guys? It's your favorite YouTuber, Zack Snyder in blackface, and today we're going to talk about James Gunn's announcement and his new slate of DC films that should be coming out within the next few years. I've got a list here that was made by a random Twitter user that I was going to give a shout out to, but I couldn't find their tweet after I downloaded the list, so sorry. So earlier today, James Gunn released about a 5-minute video talking about all the new slate of DC things that should be coming out soon. He mainly mentioned that he had sort of an 8 to 10 year plan, and that some of the DC movies that have come out that seem to not connect to anything are in a branch of the DC universe called DC Elseworlds. I'm gonna start with a list of things that are gonna come out in the near future, things that we already knew are gonna come out or are going to come out very soon. Just a fair warning, this isn't a scripted video. This is just more of my first impressions and unfiltered thoughts of the new DC slate. So first we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I'm really excited for this movie because I really love the first one. Despite Zachary Levi making some questionable tweets recently, I think it was really funny. I think it was a nice subversion of your typical superhero story, and all around it was just a really good comic book movie. So I'm excited for this one. Then we have The Flash, which is probably had one of the most troubled production cycles out of any movie I've seen in recent years. What with its main star constantly getting into trouble with the law. But James Gunn did mention that the Flash movie that's coming out is one of the best comic book movies he's ever seen, and that he really likes how it came out.
The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love.
So aside from all the Ezra Miller stuff, I am actually pretty excited for this movie, especially because it's going to explore DC's multiverse, and I'm a big fan of multiverse stories. That's why I'm really excited for all the things that Marvel's doing recently. I know Michael Keaton was supposed to be in it, but I'm not sure if he's going to be in it. I've heard rumors that Ben Affleck's going to take that role of being the Batman in that movie. I'm just not sure of anything that's going to go on in this movie. I don't even think we've got like a real long trailer. We've only gotten like a sneak teaser trailer. So we're pretty much going into this movie pretty blind. And James Gunn did mention that this Flash movie is going to reset the DC universe.
That resets the entire DC universe.
So that's interesting, and I want to see where they go with that. Then we have the Blue Beetle movie, which I don't even know that much about the character aside from what I've played with him in Injustice 2.
I'm no fan of hitting girls.
You'll be lucky to tickle me.
Yep, I kinda would be.
Just like me, for real!
But I'm really excited. We get some Latino representation in the DC universe, and it sounds like it's going to be a really cool movie. It gives me the vibes that it's going to be kind of the DC universe's like Spider-Man, like their young, kind of plucky hero.
Don't call us plucky. We don't know what it means.
And I'm pretty excited for that as well. Then we have Aquaman Lost Kingdom that's slated for December of this year. I'm kind of excited for this one too, just because the first Aquaman was just stupid, dumb fun. It wasn't like a super great, well-told story or movie, but it was just fun. And I'm hoping this new Aquaman captures that sort of fun that I had with the first one. Fingers crossed, we can only hope. All right, now for the DC Elseworld stuff. So far, we only have 2 movies confirmed for that. One of them being Joker Foil Adieu. I think I pronounced that right. Which has Joaquin Phoenix reprising his role as Joker and has Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. And apparently it's going to be a musical. Not really that much is known about the movie or the story yet, because it's supposed to be coming out next year in 2024. But Todd Phillips' Joker is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. It was just a pleasant surprise of a movie, and it was super well made, super well shot. Joaquin Phoenix killed it in the role. And despite all of the cringe Joker memes and cringe people adopting Joker as like their favorite character, I still really love the movie. I'm just very curious about what this movie is going to be and how the musical aspect is going to play into the story. I'm just super curious, but I do have faith in Todd Phillips because he did knock it out of the park the first time. And apparently we are getting a sequel to Matt Reeves' The Batman in 2025. If you did watch my best and worst movies of 2022 video, then you would see that I loved this movie. The score was amazing, the performances were amazing, just everything about that movie was amazing. It's one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. And I'm super excited to see what Matt Reeves has planned for this new Batman movie. For me personally, I'm hoping to see more of Batman's rogue gallery that we haven't really seen on screen before or in a while. I'd be down to see some more Scarecrow. I'd also be down to see a live action Mr. Freeze because we haven't had one since you know, the 90s. And that was a very different take on the character.
The Iceman
Come.
But to see more dramatic story involving Mr. Freeze and his wife would be really, really awesome. But nonetheless, I'm just really excited for this movie and I cannot wait for it to come out. Okay, now on to the meat and potatoes of this video. This is DC's Chapter 1 slate of movies, and this round of movies is going to be titled Gods and Monsters. He did mention with his plan that there's going to be video games, animated series, movies, and they're all going to sort of tie in together.
And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation.
Which is both good and bad. It means we're getting a lot of content that is together, which it's nice to have everything be one overarching story and everything connected. I do like the MCU and a lot of interconnected stories like that, but this can also be kind of a bad thing because there might be some projects you're not really interested in seeing, but you probably should and most likely will see just because you don't want to miss anything in the story. So it has its positives and negatives. But the first thing James Gunn announced was an animated series called Creature Commandos. Now, I don't know anything about Creature Commandos, but from a quick Google search, it shows that it's a bunch of super-powered military people and it takes place in World War II. Sounds pretty interesting, and I'd like to see what they do with it. The next thing he announced was an Amanda Waller solo series where she teams up with characters from Suicide Squad. Now, this is interesting because I really, really loved James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I thought it was fantastic. Thought it was funny, thought the action was awesome. I haven't had a chance to see Peacemaker yet, but I've heard so many good things about it that I'm gonna have to check it out eventually. But Viola Davis is like one of the only good parts of the original garbage Suicide Squad, and she was really good in this James Gunn remake as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing her again and seeing which villains and heroes she teams up with from the Suicide Squad. Alrighty, this next thing he announced is a big major thing. It's called Superman Legacy. It's a movie that's actually being written by James Gunn. I don't know who the director is going to be, but from the looks of it, James Gunn is very excited and passionate about this project.
This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025.
And the comments they've made about how they want this to be a Superman movie where he's already been Superman for a little bit, kind of like the Batman, but he's just a guy that just wants to do good things and is a good-natured guy in a world where just doing good and being kind is seen as kind of old-fashioned. I think that's a great idea for a story, and I'm super excited. I'm not the biggest Superman fan. I don't know a whole lot about the character, but I do want to see Superman in that light that everyone wants to see him in. I want to see him as just that good dude from Kansas just trying to help people out.
He's not an alien, he's not a god, he's just a dude from Kansas doing the right thing.
And I get the feeling that we're going to get a lot of that from this new movie. We haven't been shown anything. I don't know anything about this new movie, but I feel like I have a good feeling about this one. Alrighty, the next thing Gunn announced was a Green Lantern series called Lantern for HBO Max. And it'll focus on Hal Jordan and John Stewart, which is sick. I didn't watch a lot of the Justice League series as a kid, just because as a kid, I guess I just didn't like DC stuff as a kid. But we haven't seen John Stewart since that Justice League show. And it's super cool that we're going to be getting to see him again. No casting has been announced or anything, but I just think it's super cool. And we haven't seen Hal Jordan or pretty much any Green Lantern since that movie, that one movie. You know that one? So it is good that we're going to be getting some Green Lantern content. Green Lantern fans going to be eating tonight. Alrighty, the next movie announced was something called The Authority. I don't really have a lot to say about this one just because I don't know anything about it. But again, if it's well made, I'll watch it. The next thing that was announced was a series called Paradise Lost, and it's basically kind of a prequel series about Themyscira, the place where Wonder Woman is from. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the thing that I'm like least excited for. Wait guys, don't kill me. I'm not a sexist. It has nothing to do with the fact that the characters are women. Guys, don't cancel me. Guys, I just don't know if a Wonder Woman based series without Wonder Woman or not focusing on Wonder Woman will be that interesting. Like I said before, if it's well done and well made, I'll check it out. But this isn't one of those series that I'm super stoked and excited for. Like I'm laying in my bed at 3:22 a.m. just waiting with my eyes open, bloodshot red, sleep deprived, just waiting for this Paradise Lost series to come out. Like I just can't wait to see it. I'm excited for this next film though. The next thing James Gunn announced was a film called The Brave and the Bold, and it's actually a Batman and Robin film. Now I know we just got a Batman film last year, and even though it was fantastic, I know some people might think, oh, that's too much Batman, but hey man, there's no such thing as too much Batman in my eyes. Another reason I'm excited is because they're bringing Robin to the big screen. We haven't seen Robin in a live action movie since that other movie.
I want a car. Chicks dig the car.
That's garbage.
And maybe if you count Joseph Gordon-Levitt in The Dark Knight Rises, but I don't really. Plus, I know it's gonna give me a lot of hate, but that movie, it really wasn't that good, and it really isn't as good as people say it is. That's just my opinion. But I think Robin is one of the most underutilized DC characters that there is. For whatever reason, everyone is just so afraid to put Robin on the big screen, and I have no idea why. You got like 50 Robins to choose from. Just like, come up, put one of them in a movie. Apparently, this one will focus on Damian Wayne's version of Robin. Like I said, I'm not like a super crazy, knowledgeable DC, like super nerd that knows everything about DC stuff. But from what I understand, you know, because of the name, Damian Wayne is Batman's son, and he was trained to be like the best assassin there is. But I am really looking forward to this Batman and Robin father-son dynamic that really hasn't been explored on the big screen before. Okay, so the next thing announced was an HBO Max series called Booster Gold. This is another DC character that I know nothing about. And I'm not super hyped because I don't know anything about the character. But I do know that James Gunn does have a history of taking characters that you might not know a lot about or might never have heard of and making them interesting and compelling to watch. Also, James Gunn announced that Supergirl is getting a film, and it's going to be called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. James Gunn mentioned that it's going to be based around a story where Supergirl had to watch pretty much everyone she loved die, and Supergirl is going to be more of a jaded character as opposed to Superman with all of his optimism and do-gooding and stuff. That sounds really interesting, and I'm pretty stoked about this movie, and I really can't wait to see what they do with it. Again, don't know a lot about Supergirl, but I know the last time we saw her on the big screen was some crappy live action movie from like the 90s, so it'll be good to see Supergirl on the big screen again with sort of a redemption arc and having a good movie. I know Supergirl has a show and I haven't really watched it. I've heard the first few seasons are good, but then the budget just gets cut and the later seasons just aren't very good.
When the ones you love turn their back on you, that's pain.
Garbage.
Alrighty, and the last thing that was announced was a Swamp Thing movie. I know there was a Swamp Thing series on HBO Max, but this is going to be kind of different. The main difference is that James Gunn said it's going to be a horror film. Now, James Gunn does have a history with horror, and he actually worked on a movie that mashed the concept of horror with a superhero type character in the movie Brightburn that came out in 2019. I know James Gunn isn't directing all these projects, but the fact that he'll be overseeing it and he has a history with the mixing of superhero and horror, that gives me a little bit of comfort. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a super scaredy cat and I typically don't watch a lot of horror films, but this does sound like it could be super interesting, making a DC character that's normally a villain into a kind of like a horror monster. I mean, sign me up, I'll check it out. And that's pretty much it for all the things that were announced. Main things I'm excited for is the Superman film, the Batman film. Waller sounds like it'll be pretty interesting, and Supergirl, which sounds like it'll have a really compelling narrative. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz that the YouTubers always say. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.